Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, checking in on MJ. We're going to look at US and Canadian MJ. I'm going to leave out a bunch of tickers compared to the videos that I've been doing recently because I am busy today, but we're still going to get through a bunch of them. We got them up on the screen, good to go. Clearly a day for Canadian MJ versus US MJ. The strength is standing out. It's due to CGC in my opinion by large part, but we also have some other names that are running on their own accord, and that is only helping the sentiment of the sector. So I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth than usual about some individual names and some observations that I was making, and then we'll go through our normal rundown for everybody else. So for CGC, continuation in a big way. Still in the swing position from a few days ago from the bull flag. And here on the 5-minute time frame, we started today fairly weak. Started today with lower highs and lower lows. We broke our hourly support and got no follow through. When you break support levels or resistance levels and do not get follow through, you look in the other direction. We broke it by 10 cents. We then hit a double bottom at the low of the day, held that support by a penny, and then we broke bullish and there was no looking back. The S&P 500 low of the day was hit right here. So there was a correlation with the S&P 500. SPY then ran to all-time highs. That's only going to help in a bullish trading environment, and in my opinion, that was a catalyst to help the CGC bulls. So one observation in CGC that I was noticing here at the end of the day. So we had a significant bull run up. I ended up exiting half of my swing position into this bull move. And what I've been doing in my MJ trades over the last couple of weeks is trading around my swing position. Just because it's a swing position doesn't mean I have to hold it and can't do anything with it. That just means that I am intending on holding overnight, and I do day trading to adjust my positions and to act on very clear setups for me. So when I see this bull move on CGC, and it's now heading into lunch, the odds that we're going to see consolidation during the afternoon are very high. So if I sell half of my swing position at 52.25, which I did on this leg up, exited at 52.25, and said to myself, I'm just going to reload that half a position if we see consolidation. If we keep running up and it's an insane bull move day, great. I'm still making profit on the other half of my position. I'm not too upset about it. If we pull back, great. I can reload cheaper. So I reload 50 cents cheaper, and that lowers my break-even point about 0.5%, because that's about a 0.9% lower buyback in for that half position. So on the total position, I lower it to break even by about 0.45%. So I've done that now on Cura multiple times, selling, reloading 5% cheaper, selling, reloading 7% cheaper, and that's a way that I can continue to maintain a swing position and constantly lower that cost basis and continue to put myself in a better position. So I am swinging CGC overnight, but we had something that very clearly stood out to me on CGC, and in my opinion, it's shorts doing everything they can to prevent a breakout at the end of the day. So here we have very healthy consolidation. We had a little inverse head and shoulders pattern with a left shoulder. Here, there's our head. Here's our right shoulder and our bull break on a bull volume spike. There's some rumors about CGC being added to one of those indices, top 10. I'm going to hold off on that until we're sure whether it's official or not. But there were some rumors that came out, and this bull volume definitely had a little bit to do with that in my opinion. But the bottom line is we're looking at an hourly higher low and an hourly bull flag. And we get the shift in momentum. The 5-minute trend changes that tells us our hourly higher low is set. And then we see a cup and handle pattern. Left side of resistance, healthy consolidation. Right side is unable to break the high of the day. No red flags at this point. But it got to the point right around here where we can see this volume, this amount of volume coming in, and the inability to break the high of the day, combined with me watching the bid and the ask on CGC, just staring at it and seeing very clearly someone is continually putting shares on the ask under the high of the day to prevent a new high of the day being hit. And again, it's this amount of volume with no resistance to get through. The only resistance we have to break at that point is 5 pennies of resistance, and we could not do it on solid volume. Look at the volume during lunch, during the midday consolidation, and then look at the volume pick up above average. This orange line is our 20 candle average volume. So we saw an uptick in volume. We didn't get the price knocked down. So that tells me that whoever is containing the price is not selling into the bid. They're not knocking the price down. They're just absorbing the buying pressure by continually putting shares on the ask. And just a rough example, we were trading right here at 52.40. We see the price quickly go up to 52.48. And rather than people waiting for a new high of the day to be hit to sell some shares, we instantly see from 52.48, someone puts an ask at 52.46. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to try and undercut the ask and sell into strength when we're about to break the high of the day on an extremely bullish pattern, on an extremely bullish hourly chart, and an extremely bullish daily chart. So as soon as I saw that, I was in a day trade position as well. So I reloaded half of my swing position. I then entered a day trade position on this bull break, and I was trying to hold that for a new high of the day, and I would have sold it before the end of the day because it was a day trade position. But as soon as I saw this move, a new high of the day, clearly breaking, a big volume spike, and the fact that we only broke resistance by 6 pennies, again, that clearly tells me someone is selling intentionally to contain the price. And so from there, I sold. That's all I need to see. I'm out of my day trade position, sold that in the 52.30s, and then we faded into the end of the day. So very clear action that tells me, and now we're seeing a little bit of weakness after hours, nothing notable, but it tells me that there is probably someone short that is trying their best and losing over the past couple days, but trying to contain this price to prevent them from having to cover. So that was the scenario that became most clear. There was a scenario where early we were saying it's either shorts trying to contain the price or it's bulls not wanting us to break to the high of the day too early. Because that makes sense. If we break to the high of the day at 2:45, we still have an hour and 15 minutes of trading to go, and we might not close strong if we get that bull push before the end of the day too early. But as soon as we did get that bull break, the timing was right, 35 minutes before the close, and to see it just fade and reject, very clear red flag, someone is containing the price. So I'm still in my swing position. It certainly wasn't enough for me to exit. Let's see if we can get a short squeeze with further continuation into tomorrow. But the bulls want to break 52.60 first thing. We're looking at a lack of resistance. The only level from here is 52.87, and then the all-time high 59.25. The weekly chart has changed the trend significantly. The monthly time frame bull flag has been confirmed, higher low and continuation. The bulls are on absolute fire, and as long as the S&P 500 cooperates, we could be headed for all-time highs this summer. I would say it is likely we're headed for all-time highs this summer unless we see significant weakness in the S&P 500. That can happen any day. That can change things any day. But if that does not happen, it's a great market environment and a lack of resistance on CGC for this setup. So at this point, I will continue swinging, and if we were to break this support of 51.21 tomorrow, I would probably exit and then look to reestablish a position on daily consolidation, which is a bit overdue. The last daily higher low, 46.64, was about 15% ago. So, Cron, still not doing much, still a weak bounce overall. We don't have a clear trend change. The one pattern that I am watching is a higher low every day, 5 days in a row. If we break that pattern, we're looking back down at 15.47. It's an unimpressive bounce. We're just looking for a weekly lower high to be set. It could be a weekly bear flag. At this point, if we don't see more meaningful follow through for the Cron bulls, it is a potential weekly bear flag that we have to be cautious of. What I'm seeing in this environment right now is bulls focused on specific names. We're not seeing everybody run together. APHA, weak. Cron, weak. TLRY, not much going on. ACB, weak. CGC on fire, Hexo on fire, OGI on fire. So we're seeing bulls focus on individual names. And keep in mind, we've seen this in the past. Cron was the bulls' darling for a while when we ran to all-time highs. VFF was the bulls' darling when we ran to all-time highs. So we have to be cautious on these names that are seeing a lot of strength, like Hexo, because there could be a scenario where the bulls get their insane gains in the short term, and then they move on to the next play. And then we just see long, drawn-out, fading consolidation like we've seen on Cron and VFF at this point. That's something to be aware of as well, but there's no sign of it on Hexo, as we'll see in just a moment. ACB. It honestly looks like ACB is just patiently waiting for bulls to focus on it. And it's not there yet. Maybe there's going to be a news catalyst to do it. Not sure. Maybe when we see CGC top out and we see profit taking, those profits might go into ACB. The bottom line is we're in a weekly uptrend. We're looking for a weekly higher low to form, and we're seeing very contained action. Not a lot of weakness whatsoever. Bulls are holding on just fine. But the bottom line is we're not breaking resistance. The Bulls are doing nothing on offense. So I am patiently waiting until the Bulls prove something to me. Because when we see a break of 923 and 930, that tells me, all right, the fuse has been lit. Let's now see the follow through that we can get at this point. IAN completes redemption. I'm going to have to read this later. We'll see what that means. So for ACB, it's worth, I've got it on the back burner. I've got it in the corner of my eye, and I will act on a resistance break and a volume spike. But until that happens, I don't care what it's doing. APHA continues with the weakness, increasing bear volume, third day in a row. Clear bear break to lower lows. We're highlighting the lack of any support in this area, and we're now looking down at 7 psychological. And again, it's just opportunity cost. If you have a name like CGC, you have names like OGI, Hexo, they're all running very significantly. If your money's sitting in a name like APHA that's just going down, it's opportunity cost missed out. Not only is obviously the account going down with that position, but missing out on gains elsewhere. And that's a catalyst that is helping people move on to other names. But we are looking for a daily oversold bounce eventually. Whether that RSI drops down to 28 or 22, who knows? The lack of support means RSI levels can get more extended. But right now we're looking down really at 7 psychological. Anything on the hourly chart under, I'd say 749 is just a lower high. And on any daily bounce that does take place, anything under, we really haven't, every single day has been a lower high ever since this gap down. 10 days in a row with a lower high. That's the pattern to break, step number 1 for the Bulls to get any kind of bounce going. OGI, entered OGI on the gap up open. That doesn't sound like me. Gap ups are for selling in general, rule of thumb. Keeping in mind that a rule of thumb does not apply to every single scenario. So we got news for OGI that they have put in their application for uplisting. We had a member over the weekend who definitely did a lot of due diligence, and that helped convince me to enter first thing. And what they did was they went through and looked at every single Canadian MJ name who had an uplisting and looked at what the price did after the announcement of the application was sent, or once we got that news. And it was a very, very convincing, overwhelming bullish argument. That in combination with CGC and what CGC is doing on the daily time frame had me bullish enough to enter a position. Again, because it's an OTC name, OGRMF, we're obviously not uplisted yet, I'm using smaller positions. Same with the USMJ names. The positions that I am trading in Curaleaf, IAN, OGI, in general, they're about 20 to 30% the size of what I'm playing with CGC, and that's just due to liquidity. So I entered OGI first thing when the bell rang, and I was going to, if we saw weakness, I would have entered one more position probably tomorrow if we had pulled back today. So that would have been my game plan, looking for the daily high or low compared to 88.67. We have a very clear daily trend change underway, and now the Bulls are eyeing the all-time high. And the question is this going to be the next runner? So I'm swinging OGI at this point. We got significant follow-through, and we are looking for this bullish momentum. Again, look at the volume. Highest volume day for the Bulls in about 2 months. So 2-month volume highs. The last time the volume was higher was Blue Sky Breakout. Actually, before Blue Sky Breakout. Actually, no, into that Blue Sky Breakout. But the bottom line is it's a ton of bull volume. It's a very clear shift in momentum. We ran extremely hard into the end of the day, and we're going to be watching that all-time high tomorrow. And I probably won't be married to this position. We'll see how long I can hold it. But if we were to start with a gap up open or with strength tomorrow first thing, I'll probably wait and see if we can get an all-time high. If we were to reject, maybe I'd take some profit. But again, it's a smaller position, so that allows me more wiggle room that I don't have to be watching it under a magnifying glass. When I'm in a large position like CGC, the movement can very significantly affect what my entire account value is. And when I'm playing with smaller positions, I have much more wiggle room where I can let the longer term time frames do their thing. So OGI Bulls, congrats. All-time highs in sight. We are currently 3% away from an all-time high, and looks like we're going to test that tomorrow. Bull MAC decross, bull volume spike, looking good. Hexo's on fire. It's been a higher low every single day, 8 days in a row. Blue Sky Breakout. Again, getting a little overextended. Of course, we can continue running while we're in Blue Sky. The hourly time frame is trying for an hourly bull flag. Short-term support is 821. If we break 821 first thing tomorrow morning without breaking 840, we'll be looking for potentially a daily inside bar to form and the need to form a daily higher low. Last daily higher low was 588. That was 40% ago. So just keep in mind that we are extended. When we do consolidate, we will look for a daily higher low to form. And the bulls in blue sky certainly seeing significant strength, and the OGI bulls looking over at their tier 2 buddy longingly and hoping to see some of the same kind of action. TRST is our third tier 2 name, and they are not doing much of anything. So we have our low of the pullback, our high of the bounce. That high was 1024, and we have to hold 882 and break 1024 to change the daily trend. We broke the lower highs, but as we know, in order to confirm the daily trend change, we need the higher low and higher high follow through, and we don't have it at this point. We need an hourly trend change to have conviction that our daily higher low is established. We don't have that at this point. Best case scenario for the bulls is to hold 951 first thing tomorrow morning and try and make our way back up to 994, the high of today. But again, when you see names like Hexo and OGI doing their thing, there is opportunity elsewhere, and bulls have their attention elsewhere. We'll see if we can change the daily trend. That might get some attention, but still need a daily higher low. VFF, 4-hour equilibrium's getting pretty perfect as far as how tight we're getting here. So the most likely scenario continues to play out as far as the equilibrium. Lower high of 1299, higher low of 1077, lower high of 1259, higher low today of 1137. And if we can't break 1259 tomorrow, we'll look for a lower high to form and to continue to tighten. Best case scenario for me as someone with no position and a trader, I want to see 1259 reject the price. I want to see a pullback and a hold of 1137, and then I want to see a bull break. And I would play that bull break, and we would then be looking for a shift in this daily momentum. That would be an indication that our new weekly support is established, and we would look for some bounce follow through. And again, it's just all about the timing and the way things line up. And if Hexo starts to slow down a little bit and we see some profit taking in Hexo, and then VFF breaks bull, profits from Hexo will likely go into VFF. There's a lot of what ifs in that scenario, but there's lots of staggered opportunity. Again, we're not correlated tick for tick with everybody in the sector. There's opportunity in these names. Then we get setups which give us opportunity over here in these names. So always places to be moving around and capitalizing on momentum. Let's see how VFF breaks the 4-hour equilibrium later this week. If not tomorrow, very likely Wednesday. T-God, big bull day today. Didn't close very strong. Let's see what that profit taking looked like. That was a dump. We were on our way to close very strong. Big red flag. That's a lot of volume. So we were looking good as far as our 390 support level. This was the 4-hour inverse head and shoulders that I've been drawing in the last couple of videos, where we have our left shoulder. Here's our head. Inability to break 447 was our right shoulder forming. Breaking 435, had to break 447. We rejected. There's your red flag. So when you see a trend change like this, you want to break both resistance levels to get the convincing follow through, just like a cup and handle pattern. You want to break the left side of the right side of the cup first and the left side of the cup right after it for that convincing follow through. No doubt about it. Clear breakout. In this instance, we broke 435. Great start. We double topped at 447 by 1 penny. Didn't break the second resistance level. So it's not game over for the bulls, but it's a big setback, and we may need an hourly higher low. We did not consolidate at any point on the hourly today. Anything above 416 keeps the hourly uptrend. So again, not a major red flag, but just not the ideal scenario for the bulls. Ideal would have been to break that level and close over 447, and then that would have told us our weekly higher low is established, although it already does look like our weekly higher low is established. We want follow through over 447, and if we get it, we're going to look for an equilibrium on the weekly chart. We're going to look for a lower high compared to 581, and for a weekly chart, this range to tighten up into the summer. BGW, new all-time high. But a weak close, it is a bearish reversal candlestick on the daily. If we lose the hourly uptrend by breaking our triple low of support of 458, if we break that level tomorrow, then we need daily consolidation. Anything above 389 is a daily higher low. So all about 458 short term, resistance is 484, and we may need daily consolidation depending on if that level breaks tomorrow. Labs is still a nice equilibrium as well, 652, 560, nope, 481. Resistance of 632, Still scouting that higher low. Lower high each day, still looking for it. Have to hold 481. Hourly oversold would be convincing to begin looking for that daily higher low, but we might not get it. That's not the everyday scenario, but I always like looking for daily higher lows with hourly oversold conditions, because at the least you look for that short-term bounce to allow you to establish a position, ideally break even, stop loss. And then if it is the daily higher low, you make a great entry. And if it's not, you can potentially stop yourself out with a very small loss on that attempt. So Labs needs to change the hourly trend for our daily higher low to be established. Anything under 578 is just a lower high. So we're not close to changing the hourly trend at this point. Worth scouting. And if we get closer to 481, it would be a bottom fishing play. But at this point, need to see an hourly trend change. Bulls are trying to hold the daily exponential support, the 12 period. It held the last test. We're holding it right now. And need that hourly trend change soon to stay in the daily equilibrium. Oils, blue sky breakout. Daily inside bars. Look at the volume. How's that for convincing volume? We saw 600% more volume than Friday. Inside bar, bull break. As soon as we break 56, that's your bull signal. If you want to be more cautious, the break of 62 is your bull signal. And then we broke the double top at the all-time high to top it off. Huge volume spike compared to the last week of trading. And that is perfection. That's what we saw. Where did we see that? Charts coming to mind here. We saw the same setup with the bull break on... It'll come to me. But it was the same equilibrium that just broke straight bullish to a new all-time high. Oh, that's going to bother me. Someone let me know. Cura. So Cura is still seeing a negative impact about shares becoming unlocked. There were set to be 300 million shares coming unlocked. Only 14 million were coming unlocked. But we're still clearly seeing an effect of that and the overall impact of the USMJ sector consolidating while Canada is running. So 300 million shares, the majority of that is now in October, but we did get 14 million free trading shares hitting the market. We're looking for a daily higher low to form. And I would say that anything above 1097 is a higher low. And we're looking for hourly oversold conditions. So I do have a position in Cura. It is still green due to some flipping up here. I did reload to that position yesterday, and a bit too early it appears. But what I'm looking at now is an hourly oversold bounce, because if we drop down tomorrow and break 13 psychological, we'll be in hourly oversold conditions. And my game plan is to continue trading around my core swing position. So I would look to enter oversold conditions and then just look to flip it for a 2% gain. And if I can do that with a position that's half the size of my core swing, I just lowered my core break-even price, the break-even price, 1%. So my game plan is going to be to flip the oversold bounce if I get a setup that I like and lower the cost basis of my core. As long as we keep a daily uptrend, I'm just fine continuing to hold my Cura swing position. Again, much smaller than my CGC swing position. Due to liquidity, due to the ability of CGC that I can exit in extended hours if I want to. Just a completely different setup. C-Web, equilibrium on the daily, trying to follow through. High, low of the pullback, lower high, higher low. Anything under 29.20 is a daily lower high. And key support is down at 24.94. Lower high. If we lose the hourly uptrend, we're coming down to 24.94. We're going to look for a break sometime this week. Not the convincing follow-through move for the Bulls. They want one more green day to have favor. But if that is our lower high at 27.20, that's going to favor the Bears overall on this pattern, because it's not a convincing bounce off that low to set that daily lower high. IAN, bit of a red flag today. So we held the double bottom Thursday and Friday. We held that level to start the morning, and we got a resistance break. But that did not last. There's your resistance break. We looked great up in the upper 690s. We looked great on the daily time frame, and it gave back. And that was a red flag, because that showed us a daily higher low forming, the Bulls trying to make their way back up to 722, and then completely getting squashed. So we're looking for a gap fill at 663 at this point. And actually, we already filled it. And now we're watching hourly RSI levels, which, if we see weakness continue into tomorrow, will be approaching hourly oversold. Keeping in mind that to change this trend, we must form a higher low and higher high. Again, I have an IAN swing position, and I have not reloaded anything. I was scaling out, entered on this pullback in daily oversold conditions, scaled out into strength, and I have not re-entered anything at this point. And this morning, I thought I missed my chance. When I saw that big bull move, I said, darn, I meant to get that re-entry today, and I missed it. Fortunately, that worked out, and we'll look to re-enter if we get to hourly oversold conditions. But at this point, we need that daily higher low because we do not have a change in trend at this point. TRUL, equilibrium on watch here with the high, low, lower high, higher low. And actually, we're not convinced that's our higher low because every candlestick is a lower high 6 days in a row. We do not have a daily higher low clearly established yet. We would have to break 1820 for that to be the case, the high of today. If we break 1733, we're still looking for that daily higher low to form, and we'll be looking at 1643. That bounce on Friday just cooled off the hourly RSI from oversold, and just like that, we're heading back down to oversold. As you can see, we're getting a lack of follow-through on all these USMJ names, trying to see bounces, trying to see daily higher lows, and they're just failing to do so right now. Opportunities in the Canadian MJ space as far as the short term over the last few days. OH, bullish reaction to earnings, up at all-time highs. That's the one US name on my screen today that was standing out for those bulls. So just need to break a 13 tomorrow for a convincing follow-through move. Hourly higher low is at 1274. KHRN, another name for the bulls. Huge volume on good news and a green Marubozu candlestick. This was a red flag, a lack of follow-through, and news saved the bulls here. In the break of the daily inside bar, we got back to that level, a second chance for those bulls, and we have a trend change on the daily. Next resistance level is 374, but keep in mind, if we look at the weekly chart, anything under 426 is just a lower high on the weekly. We're still in a clear lower high, lower low pattern. It's notable that we did not get much bear follow through on the break of 301, but we can still look for a lower high compared to 426. And for us to see a very convincing bull change in momentum, we're going to need a weekly higher low and then a break of all these lower highs. Pretty much best case scenario for the bulls, if we can't break 426, would be to top out near that level, pull back for a weekly higher low in a bull flag pattern, and then break all three of those resistance at once. But just don't lose sight of the weekly chart and anything under 426 being a lower high. So that's it. Sorry I didn't cover your ticker if I didn't get to it. As far as end of the day videos, I don't have anything at this point. Went and saw a farm today, made an offer on a mini farm, and hopefully that's going to go through. We got a barn for the goats. We got a chicken coop for the chickens. We got 2 little ponds for the ducks. I'm excited. We'll see. We'll see.